three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
All right, everybody, welcome to a special evening edition of Teaching Crypto. Big show here. Of course, MrFOMO. We're here on the evening specifically to talk about Jim Harbaugh leaving the University of Michigan and going to the Chargers. No, just kidding. We're going to talk about crypto. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, that bell notification, getting in some breaking news as we speak. I want to pull something up immediately because I think this is something that people need to be aware of because some people have been scared. And I'm talking about people that are fairly new to the space. My response to this post was facts versus fear. Everyone's talking about how people have cold feet with, not everyone, some people, let me rephrase, are talking about how people have cold feet. However, amidst this market condition right here, actually, a lot of whales are actually accumulating Bitcoin right now because they know it's a low cost right now, just barely at 40K. They know it's a great time of accumulation. That's what I've been saying for the past week, and I'm glad MrFOMO was back with me today for the two-man show. But again, this is no time to panic. In fact, if not financial advice, if you are going to come back in right now, 2024, this really might be the best time.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think anybody that I can't really fault people for getting emotional, especially the people that are new to the market. I say specifically the people that are new, because it is an emotional thing because you're not used to seeing a market move this way. You're not used to seeing a market, drop 20% almost in the matter of 7 days. So for a lot of people, this is an emotional time, and I can get it. But this is where you have to kind of steel your stomach against this and realize that this isn't the time to be emotional. This is the time to start scooping up cheap sats, like AZ was saying. There are going to be very, very, very few opportunities like this moving forward. And when these opportunities arise, you have to be there to strike. Otherwise, you're going to miss it. And so, you will, if you're new, if you're watching this and this market is making you emotional or it's making your stomach turn, then, just try and change your mindset. Try and wrap your head around the idea that when this thing dips, it's just an opportunity for you to scoop some stuff up that's going to turn into at least double down the road. I mean, even if you're just looking to hold it for the short term, March, as we've pointed out in the past, is looking like it's going to be a good month because the month before the halving event is always a hot month. So this is an opportunity. You have to stop looking at these things as that roller coaster ride and start looking at it not as the bad part of the roller coaster, but as the fun part of the roller coaster. When we have these dips, this is when you've got to jump in the market and get your hands dirty and start grabbing up some of these projects.
So that information right there, 1,000 people, new people now hold, 46 new people now hold 1,000 BTC. That's pretty high right there. That grabbed my attention. Kodiak makes a great point. We talked previously about a potential front-run bull run ending in 2004 than 2005. Wouldn't it be more beneficial to big banks and whales to keep the bull run going for 2 years? So instead of the bull run ending early, maybe it extends a little bit of a super cycle. Anything is possible, right? No one can predict the future. If anyone on YouTube comes on or X and says this is the end of the bull run right at this exact date, well, they're really just, how do I say this? They're not being honest with you guys. No one knows the end of the bull run. We do know that obviously we bottomed out around 15K and now we're going back up. No one knew for sure we were going to stop at 49. We talked about a holiday hole. You brought it up, but where we were kind of missing was the holiday hold came after the holidays because of the Bitcoin ETF lead up. And
Yes.
no one knows exactly the date. We might not have bottomed out. I just want to say that right now. Even though we're back at 40 right now, it's possible we go back to 38, 37 the next week or so and then climb our way up.
There still is at 39, 38, there's still huge amounts of strength at those levels, at least from the past 3 months or so. So that's a level that I'm hopeful that we can stay above, because that would be something that would be harder to break through once we fall below those levels, because of all the buying that happened. I think that we've hit on something here that a lot of people aren't talking about, because on Thursday when the ETF launched, Grayscale was selling off Bitcoin, right? You had some of these bigger banks that were selling off Bitcoin. They knew that this was a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And so they did what they had to do to make money. And so Kodiak makes a great point. Wouldn't it be better for them if they extended this bull run a little bit longer and continued to play the market like that? Can you imagine being able to sell and buy and sell and buy and sell over and over again over the course of 2 years, rather than just within this shortened time period of the bull run? That makes total sense. And there's a lot of channels that have talked about the broken cycle or the extended cycle, especially last bull run. And so with these big banks, with TradFi coming in, you could see not only an extended cycle, but also a broken cycle, depending on how things go. Now, I'm gonna push back against the idea that this is going to be an explosive bull run the same way that the last bull run was. There's a few reasons for that. One, the market is way more diluted. We know it was diluted last time, but it's way more diluted this time. There's loads of projects out there. There's even several SpongeBob projects out there, right? And so the market's super diluted. You don't have people at home right now looking for ways to spend their money. The last bull run was happening during the pandemic, when people are at home. They've got extra money in their pockets. They're not spending a lot of money. And then you just don't have that cash being sent to people, and they don't have that extra cash on hand anymore. Money's tight, inflation's up. And so I'm worried that you won't see that explosive run. And so, like Kodiak is saying, in order to make lots of money off of this market, you could see TradFi and the banks, like Grayscale, like BlackRock, who are known to be market makers and to manipulate markets in that way. I could totally see them doing something like that, and it would make perfect sense for them to continue doing that, especially in a market that's not very regulated, where they could get away with a lot more shady things that they kind of get away with in the regular market anyway, and usually get away with with a slap on the wrist and only a finger shake. I could totally see that happening, and that's another one of those reasons why we have to be prepared this bull run, and we have to have our fingers on our wallet triggers to make sure that we take profits when we can. So we should have been taking profits pretty hard last week before that ETF launched. And I hope a lot of you did, knowing that it was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news, like we told you. Now, I did not expect it to sell off that quickly, but it is what it is.
And it could have gone another way. We could have continued to gone up and then did a little bit of a lull and then gone up in March. So, if you've been holding Bitcoin since 25K, you're fine. Don't worry about it, really, because you have your target wherever that is,
Yeah,
and when
you'll
it
be fine.
hits, you got to act. Now, I wanted to talk about Solana because that's one of the projects showing a lot of strength. You see, it's up almost 7%, but it's only a matter of perspective, because you might be like, well, should I really buy Solana now or should I wait? Well, if you look at the 7-day chart, it looks amazing, right? Sorry, let me scroll up here. 7-day chart. Yeah, you're getting a good discount. Monthly chart, still looking good. And then you're looking at the yearly, and you're like, whoa, I wish I would have bought back in the summer, right? When we were talking about it, MrFOMO and AZcrypto talking about in the summer, it was below 20. That's when I should have bought. Yearly, but all time, still not a bad time to buy if you think Solana is going to go at all-time highs. Now, going back to the 7-day here, uh, Could this thing, the crazy thing about this thing is it was down. If you got it below 80 briefly for about less than a day, it was like a 6 to 8 hours, it was below 80. Congratulations. If we get another Bitcoin dip, guys, this one is one, not financial advice, that looks like it's going to recover fast. I mentioned Chainlink, but man, is Solana showing some strength right now. And so if we got another dip back to 38K and all the alts took a bit of a dip and this one went under 80 again, it would be hard, not financial advice, to not pull the trigger, Mr. FOMO.
Yeah, and that's another one of those reasons why you can't get caught up in your emotions in this market. You can't spend too much time being butthurt that you bought Solana at one something and now it's down in the 80s. It's time to DCA and drop your average cost so that when this thing explodes, you can make a little bit of money without any problems. So that's just another lesson with another good project where go ahead and grab some cheap SOL and fill up your bags, because we already know that one's going to take off. Kodiak says, thanks for covering Caspa. I like Caspa. I think it's going to be one of those ones that that does well this run too. And Miro on Solana. We talked about projects on Solana and how they will run, and projects on other chains and how they will run with those. But I definitely will take a look at that, and maybe we'll do a deep dive for you.
Absolutely. Mr. FOMO, you had one you wanted to discuss that had a big partnership that might lead to some price action. So why don't you pull
I've
it
got
up?
a couple of them that I want to talk about. So I'll share this first. So there's 3 tokens that are really running right now against the market that are trending as well. You've got Manta, you've got Pullix, and you've got Sui. Now, Manta, I think, was an airdrop. Pullix is, I forget what they had going on, but they had something. Oh, it was a pre-sale of their token. And so these are some obvious things that would drive the price. Normally, you'd think airdrops, though, would have a sell-off. So I would expect that Manta price increase to have a nice reversal there, or an ugly reversal, because the airdrop will soon sell off. But, you never know what could happen. But Sui, to me, that one was the most interesting of all of them. And let me share another.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Sui. While you get that chart up.
Well, I'm not
that
bringing the
one,
chart up.
okay.
They've gone up 11%, but that's since they announced their partnership with Alibaba Cloud. And what's happening is Alibaba Cloud is expanding its partnership with technically Misten Labs, and that's to support developers on the Sui network. And you might be saying, okay, cool, they've got a partnership. Well, Alibaba Cloud is the digital business backbone of the Alibaba Group, and the Alibaba Group is like the Amazon of China. And so when you're talking about Amazon, you're talking about Alibaba, you're talking about these big time retail companies, you're talking about a lot of money. And you're not talking about a partnership to track their products the way that there was a rumored VeChain partnership. You're not talking about a partnership with, a company. I forget who you were talking about before. I think it was like StormX or something like that.
Yep, with Walmart briefly. Yeah, remember that?
Right. And so and their partnerships are very brief, right? They're periodic and they're rolling. But this is a digital partnership, and this is specifically to support the developers on the Sui network. And it's with a huge, huge company. So when you're looking at this and you're looking at it pumping against Bitcoin, and you're also seeing them in this huge partnership, you might be thinking, I don't want to chase a pump. But this is a good sign. When you see it going against the market like this, and you know that it has a good reason, the way that this does, you can still purchase that. And it's not necessarily chasing a pump. 11% is basically nothing in the crypto market.
Yeah,
But
I want you to pull up the
against
monthly. Click on the monthly for a second for our viewers, if you don't mind, Mr. FOMO.
So you have
the monthly? If you click on that, Mr. FOMO, you'll see the monthly is up 76%. Now, what really is impressive to me is the weekly only down 1.8%. All that bleeding and this thing is down in 1 week 1.8. So for the month, we're up almost 77%. And for the year, we have a long way to go to all-time highs. The yearly high and the all-time highs are the same things as a newer token, 452. So to me, and I'm glad you brought this up, it's hard to it's to go down to 5 tokens to pick. It's hard, but this would be one that I would really watch as well. We've talked about Chainlink, we've talked about Solana. I've talked about a bunch of tokens right now that I'm really high on, and knowing what you've said today, you got to put this one on the list with the Muse.
I really honestly believe that because of this partnership. And it's not, like I said, it's not a rolling partner. It's not a temporary partnership. This is a partnership with their digital group, which means that this is probably something that's going to last. This isn't a test. They're actually supporting the developers on that network. So there are big things to come. And like you said, this is a newer token. It is already at 1.4, almost 1.5 billion on the market cap. However, we've seen tokens run even with high market caps at that point, and that's not terribly high, right? We can see that explode from there. But knowing that it's making those kinds of inroads with a company like Alibaba is something that you cannot ignore. So take a look at Sweet.
Absolutely, guys, and watch Bitcoin carefully. If it does go back down again, that's an opportunity with a capital O. Well, for MrFOMO, this is AZcrypto, guys. Thank you so much. Help us spread the show any way you can by subscribing, hitting like, sharing, bell notification. Super chats are always available. Thanks, guys, and have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you later.
See you.